Growing up, football was a huge passion of mine, but running, I hated it. I was a lineman, so some of you know that every time you'd lace them up, you were in for a world of pain. Your ankles throbbed, your feet hurt, everything it was miserable. I was your typical American football lineman, so severely overweight, extremely out of shape, and anytime we did anything wrong, it was, get on the line! But this was my normal. No matter how much I hated it, it was a part of the game. And not being able to run, let alone walk, was unthinkable. Of course, what I'm getting at is the day that all changed in an instant. Suddenly, I kind of forgot to mention what happened because I forget that I'm not a celebrity yet and not everyone knows my entire life story. May 31st, 2023, me and my brother were headed to the gym and we were hit on the way as soon as we were exiting our neighborhood. After that, I found myself in a wheelchair, watching the life I'd known slip away. The body that had always let me push through was now failing me in ways I never thought possible. But deep down, I wasn't ready to let go. From June 21st, 2023 to September 29th, 2024, I worked tirelessly just to get back on my feet and reclaim my normal. Even if it meant facing the thing I hated most, running. Holy crap, look at my delt. Every single step forward was a battle. But I fought through the pain, the frustration, the doubt, because I had promised myself that I would show others that no matter where you're starting from, nothing is truly out of reach. And then on September 29th, 2024, I broke through. After a year of grinding, I not only ran, but I managed an all-out sprint, holding a speed of 8 miles an hour for over 3 minutes. That moment felt like a rebirth, a pure victory. For the first time, running wasn't a punishment, but instead, it was an old friend that I was welcoming back. It's funny to think about running, the thing I hated the most, becoming a symbol of my strength and a testament to just how much I've recovered. Now that I've fought to regain a piece of my normal, I want to show you what that looks like today. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I'm a TBI patient, and every step of my journey, dozens of people have told me to be active on social media, vlog my story, and just share with people the progress of this whole journey. And I was always like, yeah, I'll get to it, but I never did. And then I ran for the first time. I walked over to just some random dude at my gym, and all excited, I was like, dude, I just ran for 3 minutes. He smiled, he looked at me very confused, and he said, that's great, man, and feigned happiness to make me feel better. And I could tell that it wasn't genuine. A pit formed in my stomach at the idea that I could have been sharing this journey with everyone up until now, but I was too scared of what people would think. And I didn't want to put the work in, so I just never got around to it. Now, at first, I was like, I screwed up. No one can see, no one can relate to this huge win that I just had where I just ran for 3 consecutive minutes. Like, that's insane. I was in a wheelchair a year ago. No one can see how many times I fell trying to force myself to walk. I've fallen specifically more times than I can count. But I can't share any of that anymore, and it's already happened. And that really bummed me out. However, then I was like, I only ran for 3 minutes. I still can only run for 3 minutes. I still can't drive. I still am not cleared to work. I mean, for example, I just got cleared to be home left alone for long enough for my mom to work a full-time job. I'm still way at the capabilities of like a small child. Like, I'm cooked, bro. To give you a better example, I started making this video at like 9 a.m. It is currently 1:30. I've been working on this all day because I recorded it all, got it all perfect, and then I was a little bit more awake in the day and I watched it, and there are moments where I just sit here and stare off into space. I'll play you a clip from this morning. Hey, alright, so my name is Yo. But it was just so unbearable to watch. I had to re-record every single scene. There's still so many things, so many aspects of my recovery, like my brain. I was incredibly intelligent before the TBI. I still have a lot of the knowledge. However, my brain does not work as efficiently. I think I've lost over a dozen tripods trying to record in the gym. Not only that, but like, I lost my Apple Watch. Which, mom, don't see this. I lost my wallet once, which was just walking one day around to my neighborhood gym. It fell out of my pocket and I completely lost it. I still lose a lot of things. I still can't swim in the ocean. I can swim in pools, but I can't swim in the ocean. I've tried twice and almost drowned twice. There's a lot of things that I still can't do that I could share with y'all in just my journey of this whole thing. Plus, I'm qualified for the championship show for summer shredding, which I placed second in the normal 100-pound plus weight loss division of traditional summer shredding on like September 14th or 15th. But now I get to do the championship show, so I can walk you down that road to my championship show, which, by the way, the championship show is supposed to be October. However, you're allowed to take a gap year. So I'm going to do that instead, and you guys are going to get to watch me bulk and then cut for the show. So it should be a lot of fun, and stay tuned. Okay, so I said I was going to start vlogging, but then I forgot my tripod first day. RIP the tripod. It's in my room. It's not like lost, but it is missing. So honestly, I'm gonna try to record without a tripod, but I don't know how well that will go. So bear with me. It is pouring right now. I am shutting up. Okay, basically, if you guys thought I was nervous to record just videos to post online, I am 100,000 times more nervous to record in the gym. But I'm gonna try anyways because screw it, who cares? Like, we're only in this life once. Who honestly cares? Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through why I do what I do with each movement. However, I do want to preface this by saying that I completely went in this telling myself I have to make sure to remember to record horizontal. I get to the gym and I'm like, I have to record horizontal. I walk into the locker room, and by the time I walked out, memory just gone. completely gone. I totally forgot that I was supposed to record horizontal, and I didn't remember until right now. Okay, so this is my first time putting something on the weight stack during lat pull downs. And honestly, all it taught me is if you kind of have an ego that needs to be checked, put your phone on top of the weight stack. Watch how slow you move the weight. Because I'm pretty good about moving the weight relatively slow. I don't usually go slow both ways, but slow on the way down and explosive on the way up because football taught me to lift that way. But let me tell you, you go slow as freak if you put your phone on top of that weight stack. Okay, these are just some cable rows. I'm honestly glad I didn't record in horizontal for these because I am not 100% sure on my form. But what I can tell you is that what I've learned so far about the form for these is I used to have really, really bad form. So I can tell you my mistake so that hopefully you don't make it as well. What I used to do is I'd lean back a bit to make it more of a trap-based movement than honestly it was trap-based movement more than it was more of a shrug than a lat movement. So I've learned you want to be upright, but you'd almost rather be leaning forward than leaning back. I feel like leaning forward is better than leaning backwards. Okay, so I've done a bit of research on muscle growth and hypertrophy in general, and all the research says that pushing yourself to failure is the best way to grow muscle and stimulate hypertrophy. However, I'm pretty sure the failure they're referencing to is technical failure, which is where you push out reps until your form starts to go out the window and then you stop. But I have a powerlifting background, so I created this term I call true failure. So it's my spin on failure because I'm used to lifting heavy loads and pushing my body close to its limits. I'm pretty good at keeping up form even when my body is near its breaking point. So what I started doing is I will force out the last few reps, no matter how long they take. I am just you can see it in this rep right here. I am just forcing that bar down. Okay, so cable pullovers. Honestly, this should probably be the one exercise that is an exception to the rule of true failure because my form on these is definitely not good enough to push out those few extra reps, as you can see by the end of the set. But I honestly didn't realize that until I just saw this video now. But a tip I can give you because of a mistake I used to make is I used to make this kind of a mix of a lat pulled over with a tricep extension. Try to limit your elbow extending as much as possible during the concentric phase, during when you're pulling the rope to your hips. Try to limit how much your elbow is extending. Trick I learned that helped me with the form on cable pullovers though is I kind of shrink down into the stretch of the movement, as you can see by my chest like falling each time I extend my arms. And then I pop my chest up as I bring the cable closer to my hips. Everyone's favorite shoulder shrugs. With these, the biggest issue that I see most people have is ego. So try to calm down the ego. If anything, go for a bigger rep range just to make sure that your ego doesn't come out to play. Number one thing for these is, like most things, my main goal here is getting as big of a stretch as possible. Brain injury made me completely forget what attachment I use for face pulls, but just walking over the attachment kind of refreshed my memory. One thing that I found that really helps me get the mind-muscle connection on this movement is I actually invert the back of my palms to face each other, the top of my hands, and I almost make a V shape with my thumb and my pinky on both hands, making kind of a V shape, and that just helps me isolate the delt. Let's talk about my setup. So for this one, I like to set the cable at eye height, sit on the floor for stability reasons, and then I like to bend my knees and plant my feet into the ground so the cable doesn't pull me forward, because like during this set here I'm using 104 pounds, so if I'm not careful the cable will pull me forward. But what I like to do is I like to set up my knees like that. And I like to do reps where I allow my back to round and lean into my knees a bit so that I can really get that full stretch. Okay, so cable crunch. This is honestly probably one of my favorite ab movements. But first, let me show you what not to do, because I didn't realize how atrocious my form was until I started recording. So as you can see here, I'm using too much weight and I'm throwing the weight forward. I use a bit of my hips to be able to move more weight, and I also eventually back up and widen my stance to be able to move more weight. Don't do this, it doesn't focus your abs as much. Okay, this is proper form. I lowered the weight from 100 pounds to 85 pounds, and as you can see, that's more reasonable. Try to almost either get the front of your forehead to touch your knees, which you'll never actually be able to do that, but have that mental cue in your mind. Either that or try to touch the top of your head to the ground instead of your forehead to the ground. This was the only workout I couldn't record, decline bench sit-ups. Like, there was no way to get a camera angle without a tripod to be able to record this for y'all, but here it is.